young, and the restless shocker. Dumas' final words leave Victor terrified behind bars. The air was heavy in Genoa City as the headlines swept across phones, televisions, and front pages. Aristotle Dumas sentenced to life in maximum security prison. The courtroom had been a circus for weeks, filled with shocking testimonies, explosive evidence, and the riveting collapse of one of the most enigmatic men to ever set foot in the world of the Newmans and Abbotts. Dumas, suave and cunning, had pulled strings from the shadows for months, maybe years, but his web of secrets had finally unraveled. And Victor Newman stood at the center of that unraveling. It was Victor who had found the final clue, Victor who had manipulated the chessboard behind the scenes, and Victor who watched with cold satisfaction as the cuffs clinked around Dumas' wrists. But even he wasn't ready for what Dumas would say next. As the guards gripped his arms and escorted him through the stone corridor of the courthouse, Aristotle Dumas turned one last time to face Victor Newman. The two men locked eyes, one a symbol of corporate legacy, the other a mastermind who had nearly burned it all down. Dumas' mouth twisted into a sardonic smile as the cameras flashed. Then he said, slowly, firmly, and with venom behind every syllable, "You will regret this, Victor Newman." 6 words. The words hit Victor like a chill in the spine. Not because he feared Dumas, but because he knew men like him didn't waste their breath on empty threats. Dumas may have been in shackles, but that didn't mean he was done. Back at Newman Enterprises, the celebration was muted. Nikki poured a drink for Victor, but her hands trembled slightly. "Why does it feel like it's not over?" she asked quietly. "Because with a man like Dumas, it never really is," Victor muttered, sipping his scotch. He was playing a game within a game. Victoria entered, tablet in hand. "The press is calling you a hero, Dad. You dismantled his empire and saved Genoa City from whatever his endgame was." Victor barely nodded. His eyes were fixed on a single headline. Dumas' final words, a chilling promise. Across town, Amanda Sinclair was shaken too. She had spent time with Dumas, tried to understand him, maybe even sympathized with parts of his past. But even she hadn't expected such cold rage in his voice. "What did he mean?" she whispered to Phyllis. Phyllis didn't answer. She was already packing a bag. At the Pennington Correctional Facility, Dumas settled into his new reality. The walls were sterile, the guards indifferent. Yet Dumas carried himself with eerie calm. "You think this place scares me?" He laughed to his cellmate, a former Wall Street shark who'd seen better days. "They say you went up against Victor Newman and lost." "I haven't lost anything," Dumas whispered. "The game hasn't even started." What no one knew, yet, was that Dumas had planted seeds across Genoa City long before his arrest. Secret emails, recorded conversations, incriminating documents stashed in hidden places, and one final pawn waiting for their cue. Within days of Dumas' incarceration, strange things began to happen. A fake lawsuit was filed against Newman Media from an unknown overseas company. Legal documents surfaced claiming Victor had falsified accounts 20 years ago. Shareholders panicked as stocks dropped by 9% in 24 hours. Victoria stormed into Victor's office. "We're hemorrhaging." "It's like he predicted this." "He didn't predict it," Victor growled. "He orchestrated it." "You think he did this from prison?" Victor nodded grimly. "He was never going to fight me in court. He wants to destroy everything I've built, piece by piece." But it wasn't just the company at stake. A mysterious package arrived at the Newman Ranch. Nikki opened it and gasped. Inside was a photo, Adam standing next to Dumas, from months ago. The note attached read, "Your son made a deal with the devil." Adam Newman was blindsided when Victor summoned him into the ranch with the photo in hand. "What the hell is this?" Victor barked. Adam stared at the image, his jaw clenched. "It's not what it looks like. I've heard that before. I didn't work with him. I was investigating him, trying to get ahead of him." Victor's eyes narrowed. "Did you make a deal?" There was a long pause. Then a reluctant nod. "I didn't think it would go this far." Victor slammed his fist on the table. "You gave him leverage, Adam." Adam's voice rose. "I was trying to beat you at your own game. Just once." The room fell silent. Outside the ranch, a drone hovered briefly, recording everything. At the Grand Phoenix, Amanda couldn't sleep. She kept replaying the moments she shared with Dumas. She had seen something broken in him, but also something eerily calculating. When she received an encrypted email titled, "Truth will set you free," her blood ran cold. It was from Dumas. Inside were files. Dozens of them. All linking Victor Newman to old scandals, hidden cover-ups, and business takedowns the world had forgotten, or never knew. At the end of the message was a chilling line. "You know the law, Amanda. Time to choose your side." Victor was cornered, his empire under siege, his family questioning his morality, and Dumas' threats still ringing in his ears. But Victor Newman didn't become a titan by folding under pressure. He called a meeting with Michael Baldwin, Nick, Victoria, and even Summer. "We're under attack," he began. "From the inside and the outside." Michael confirmed the files Amanda received were legit. "Dumas wants to ruin your name forever," Michael said. "And he's succeeding." Victor paced slowly. Then he turned. "Then we change the narrative. We go on offense." Victor unleashed a counter-strategy like no other. Old allies were called in. Kevin Fisher helped track the digital trails Dumas left behind. Phyllis, out of loyalty to Nick and fear of Dumas' wrath, hacked into offshore accounts connected to Dumas. Within 48 hours, Victor had traced the leak to a young tech prodigy, Dumas' illegitimate son, Lucien, working from Prague. Victor made a call to a contact in Interpol. The war was no longer corporate, it was international. Amanda couldn't take the pressure. She walked into Chancellor Winters, sat down with Devon and Lily, and revealed everything. "I've been in contact with Dumas." Lily stood up, shocked. "Amanda, why would you?" "I didn't want to help him. I needed to understand him. And now I know he won't stop." She handed over all the files. "Give these to Victor. He needs to know everything." The tide began to turn. 1 week later, Victor received a handwritten letter, delivered by private courier. No return address. He opened it. It read, "You may have taken my freedom, but I have taken your peace. The world will see what you really are, Victor. And by the time you realize what you've lost, it will be too late." Signed, Aristotle Dumas. Victor drove to the prison. Without guards. Without warning. He walked into the visitation room and waited. Dumas entered wearing a beige jumpsuit but smiling like he still wore a $1,000 suit. "You just couldn't resist, could you?" Dumas teased. Victor's voice was cold. "I came to tell you something, man to man." Dumas leaned forward. "Say it then." Victor stood tall. "You think you've won because you caused chaos. But my family? We rebuild. We don't stay down. You, on the other hand, you're going to rot here." Dumas narrowed his eyes. "Don't bet on it. Not yet." Victor turned to leave. Then Dumas whispered again. "You will regret this, Victor Newman." The same 6 words. But this time, it wasn't a threat. It was a prophecy. Weeks passed. Stocks stabilized. Amanda was forgiven. Adam stepped away to reevaluate his future. And the Newman family, scarred but stronger, closed ranks. But Victor kept the letter in his drawer. He read it often, not out of fear, but because of the quiet warning beneath the surface. Dumas was still out there. Even if his body was behind bars, his mind, his network, and his will were far from done. And somewhere in the world, a key turned in a lock. A man in a security uniform grinned, revealing a tattoo of a snake curling around the letter D. Freedom was only a matter of time. Because the final line of Dumas' letter had one last hidden message in invisible ink. "Regret is a slow-burning poison.